Welcome to The Business on Radio Verulam, the voice of your local business community.
Yes, welcome to The Business, the show that's essential listening for the West Herts business community. It's a new show and I'm very excited. Roma, how are you feeling?
Oh, very excited
and
too.
Vicky, are you...
Sorry, lots to do, you see. I can't even stop myself talking.
How are you feeling, Vicky? Are you excited?
Raring to go. Really looking forward to meeting some of the guests and getting cracking.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's going to be. A great show tonight. We've got a bumper fun-packed show tonight. We have all the latest business news, top tips. Matt Bigg from the Collective Design will tell us all about his business journey through his career. We've got Beric Reid, St Albans and District Councillor responsible for business, and with his and he's also got his own business as well. And then Mike Myrion, from Chairman of the IOD in Hertfordshire, on our guest panel. We have best-selling author Rachel Bridge telling us her best and worst decision. And, of course, your guide to what's coming up in the business community in the next few weeks. But have you had a busy week, Roma and Vicky?
Yeah, it's been very busy. I think now that the summer's over, the Olympics is over, everyone's back at work and things are moving, which is good news. So good for me.
Yeah,
Vicky?
No, and good for me. I think that lots and lots of the businesses that I deal with seem to be, looking forward to the autumn and the run up to Christmas, and all's looking good.
Right. I mean, I know that there's a lot of talk about whether the economy is going to pick up or it's not going to pick up, and we'll be touching on that as we go along, no doubt, with our audience. But I suppose that's part of what the first item in the news is all about. Now, this is your show. I mean, this is all about community. It's essential listening for the business community. So we would like you to contribute in what you do. So in talking to us. So we'd urge you to get in touch with us. You can phone us on 01727 839 926. That's 01727 839 926. Or you can get in touch with us on thebusiness@radioverulam.com. We'd very much like to hear your views. But first of all, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the various news stories. Of course, this week has seen the announcement of £1 billion being put in to set up a bank designed to increase the amount of lending to businesses. Now, that's the brainchild of Vince Cable, of course. The business secretary says that this will help many small and medium-sized businesses who have struggled for credit since the financial crisis. He's promised to sort of fight short-termism and get behind good firms. And it's interesting. We've had a bit of reaction already on that from a couple of people who have just talking about their sort of views on how banks have been doing in small business. And maybe sort of Roma or Vicky has sort of got a view on this. Now, Jamie from St Albans has been saying it's a further smokescreen. How transparent are these initiatives in terms of results? My business was declared insolvent 2 months ago. After 10 years of business banking with my bank, they couldn't even manage to close the business account properly. So, there's lots of unhappy people out there, and we'd like to hear your views as we go through the show. I mean, Roma, you obviously have been working very closely with business. Maybe just say a little bit about what you do and what the attitude is to lending.
Well, in the last 4 years, I was working with the Regional Development Agency supporting small business, and I now work as a consultant really to growing businesses. But yes, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and so did our listener that had emailed in. Is this just another government spin? As you say, we're really interested in finding out what business owners in Hertfordshire think. We'd love to hear of your own experiences of business lending. Have you found more successful alternatives? It's interesting, £1 billion of taxpayers' money, as you say, pushed into the marketplace via a new bank in inverted commas, which we're yet to hear about. It could take up to 2 years to actually come to fruition. Is this actually going to be the answer to all the prayers of small business? Is it going to make that much difference?
Yeah.
It's a difficult one.
It's very difficult. and it's sort of the question, of course, is, this is being done because of the recession, having been here and been sort of scarring the economy for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. But is the recession nearly over? There's another sort of set of stats. I mean, retailers in the east of England are optimistic about their trading future. 90% of East of England traders can see strong or steady company growth in 2030. Now, contrast that with the survey of independent retailers, which says, from the British Retailer Consortium, which says that the Olympics hadn't led a spending spree. I mean, who do we believe?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's an interesting one. That first report that you talked about, we're going to look at in a little bit more detail in our Let's Talk Business section. Yeah. But as you say, it seems that we potentially are bucking the trend here in the east of England. And, we'll also be talking about generally what's going on in the West Hertfordshire area. There's so much happening. We've got the festival going on at the moment. We've got businesses up for awards in the region. Are we actually bucking the trend here, or do we reflect what's going on out there in the business world in general?
Or we're leading the trend, maybe, given the newspapers over the weekend, yesterday and today, both the Times and the Sunday Times talking about the fact that we're heading forward positively and it's all looking good.
I mean, here we are. We're all beaming at each other across the thing. We're all positive people, dear listener. The question for you, which we'd like to hear of yours, is this the light at the end of the tunnel, or is it an oncoming train? We just don't know what's happening at the moment, but we hope very much that things are up on the up. A couple of quick things I noticed. That St Albans Dragon's Apprentice Challenge is out now. Business mentors needed. St Albans and District Strategic Partnership is calling on business experts to help young people raise money for charity through the Apprentice Challenge. Now there's up to 30 teams taking part, and I just love this kind of initiative. They've got to turn 100 quid into 1,000 quid, and each team picks up a local charity or community
I did it
group.
last year, actually.
Did you?
And
right.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was inspirational. Anybody that says that that kids today are lazy and hopeless and haven't got a future, you need to just get out there and meet those kids, because they did a fantastic job. My gang from St George's School made over nearly £2,500. We had a ball doing it. They won prizes, and I learnt a lot as well. So all round, the charity benefited, I benefited, and the kids did. It was a superb initiative. So well worth getting in touch with the Dragon's Apprentice. Penny Mortimer, I think, is running it. She's the woman to get in touch with.
That's right. Penny Mortimer at Dragon's Apprentice at cvsstantalbans.org.uk. Now, I know what it's like when you're listening and you think, I haven't got a piece of paper. And so go and get your piece of paper. Okay, right. That's enough time. We can't have too much air on this show. Dragon's Apprentice at cvsstantalbans.org.uk. We'll put that on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. And I should mention what they are, really, shouldn't I? We've got this Twitter account is at RV The Business. And you'll find our Facebook page. I think if you go via Radio Verulam, you should be able to find that. So that was that. And finally, I mean, we've got to be careful not to take sort of sides on this, but I'm wondering if our listeners have any views on the post office closures that are going on at the moment. Yes. Sounds like you have, Roma.
Well, there seems to be a lot buzzing on Twitter, on Facebook, emails flying around. Yes. There seems to be a lot of discussion about the post office closures.
I mean, I'm wondering which ones are left open, because there's one closed in Harpenden, there's one closed in Radlett. We're not taking sides, by the way.
They want to close it, not closed yet.
Oh, really? Right.
They want to close it, and I think
it seems to be odd as well, because it seems to be at odds with the fact that the banks are starting to announce that you can do your banking through post offices now. Yeah. So it seems to be a little bit at odds. You sort of starting to think, they're going to be even more useful to the community, and then suddenly it's actually, by the way, they're going to be closing as well. So it's sort of all a bit at odds. It really doesn't.
Yeah, so please, if you've got a strong view, if it's something that gets your goat, then do get in touch with us, and we're going to just remind you of those details of how to get in touch with us with this nice little jingle here.
If you want to get in touch with the business on Radio Verulam, phone us on 01727 839 926 or email thebusiness@radioverulam.com.
Radio Verulam Community Partners.
Many people go through tough times which can be hard to handle. If you're one of those people and you don't know which way to turn, please remember that the Samaritans provide confidential and non-judgmental emotional support. We're here 24/7 for anyone who is experiencing feelings of distress and despair, including those which could lead to suicide. So just ring us on our free call number 116123 or email joe@samaritans.org.
For more on Radio Verulam Community Partners, go to radioverulam.com/community partners.
And we have a passion on this show to actually get people to talk to us about their experiences, share their experiences. Because yes, we happen to be the people here with headphones on at the moment, just talking about these things. But of course, business is about community. You don't have a business unless you serve the community. So we have decided to run a lot of little segments in the show where we are talking about top tips, best decisions, worst decisions, light bulb moments, these sort of things. There's all sort of little fun-packed thing. Now, you, Vicky, spoke to somebody called Mike Meldrum, didn't you?
That's right. Mike Meldrum's Mike Meldrum runs the Mortgage Mine, a company that specialises in providing the best quality service for mortgages. He's a consummate networker. He's a great guy. And he was kind enough to give us some of his top tips and ideas.
In fact, he gave us a whole sort of bunch of them, and fingers crossed. I'm going to just see if we can have a little bit of what he says now.
Mortgage Mine Limited. It's a business that I set up a little over 6 years ago with a view to providing good quality mortgage services. Too many people in the past had decided that they were going to try and get too much money out of the customers and charge them too much fees. And we just wanted to be a bog standard, really good quality, very fair company.
So what's your biggest tip for people setting up in business or small to medium-sized business managers?
Okay, certainly my biggest tip would be to get your name out there. And getting your name out there is really pretty straightforward. No one can buy anything from you if they don't know you don't exist. So what I would definitely recommend is go and do some local networking, get your name known, and actually, you know what, also learn from experience.
And have you got a biggest mistake? What was the biggest error that you made when you were setting up?
Yes, Victoria, of course there is. I'm the chap that bought a loan broker just before the credit crunch started. Not quite sure what I should have done differently. Maybe it was just one of those things. But in business, you've got to take the rough with the smooth because there's plenty of both.
And have you had any light bulb moments, things where you suddenly realise that, yes, you can change direction, you can do something differently and it'll make a difference?
Yes, there is one. My big light bulb moment is, I've got two light bulb moments, if you don't mind, if you can indulge me. One is write your business plan. Write the business plan, write your marketing plan. If you don't do that, then what will happen is that you will hit a stumbling block in business and not know how to solve it. If you've got a plan, then you know you've got a plan A, you know you've got a plan B, you'll relax, and that relaxation will be reflected in the way that you conduct yourself.
And is there any one thing that you would have done differently if you could roll back the clock?
Well, I certainly would have avoided the credit crisis of 2008 if I could have done. But actually, you know what? I probably wouldn't. When you work for yourself, and when you work for yourself, it's absolutely fantastic going out there and being master of your own destiny. So no, I wouldn't change anything. It's great fun, it's hard work, it's soul destroying, you laugh and you cry, but I certainly wouldn't do anything else.
Most brilliant bit of business luck?
Most brilliant piece of business luck is I bumped into a chap who, as it turned out, was a director of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. Did a little bit of business for him, and he said, "Oh, that's really useful for me." And now I've got speaking engagements across 200 accountants who are my best customers.
Fantastic. And which networking groups do you go to?
I do two networking groups. There's an excellent networking group in Welwyn Garden City Golf Club on a Tuesday morning called B49. Very informal, very relaxed, but it does the trick. It's hard work, but you get out of it what you put in. Alternatively, I also attend the BNI chapter in Hemel Hempstead, the Phoenix chapter. Far more regulated, far higher commitment, higher degree of time, but they've been doing it for 30 years, and the reason they've done it for 30 years is the formula works.
Thank you, Mike.
And there he was. That was Mike Meldrum. He was really interesting, and he helped us by just doing a whole load of things at the same time. And we would really like, and I guess they call this user-generated content these days, that we would really like you to sort of chip in with your best decisions, worst decisions, light bulb moments, whatever you like. You can just send them in to us if you want. It doesn't have to involve us interview. We've all got iPhones these days, and we can record things and send them in. We'll convert them, put the best ones on. So you're very welcome. So hopefully you're getting to feel what the kind of the pattern of the show is now. And this is the next bit coming up, where we love to do things where we actually are talking about things that are real world and related to the world of business. And what better than to catch an entrepreneur and sort of lure him or her into the studio? And we've done that. We've caught our first one, haven't we, Vicky? And Vicky's going to talk to him.
So we've got Matt Bigg in the studio from the Collective Design. We're delighted to have you here, Matt, and I can see that you're delighted to be away from the Ryder Cup. I understand you've left your dad in the pub at the moment. Is that correct?
I have left him next door in the pub while I come here to have a chat. But,
by the way, I mean, we could keep the listeners updated because there is absolutely no excuse. This is an important business show, and you must be listening. So if you've got the Ryder Cup scores, there's no reason to switch on Sky or whatever that channel is. Okay,
yeah. Sorry.
Go on.
So back to the important interview.
Yeah.
So Matt, just tell us a little bit so that everybody knows what it is the Collective Design do, how long you've been going, and sort of whereabouts are you based?
Yeah, good evening, Vicky. Good evening, Trevor. We're a local based design agency based in St Albans, where we've been here for the last 10 years, just over. And yeah, it's good. It's good.
You're having a good time in this rocky economic climate that we're hearing about.
It could be better. It could be a lot worse. We're surviving. We're still here, so that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a very good thing, and we're really delighted that you're here too. So how do you think you've been sort of riding the wave? What sort of things have you been doing that have really helped you manage the peaks and troughs?
Hard work, that's pretty much it. We've probably worked harder in the last year than we did in the very first year that we set up. I think you've got to do that if you want to survive. I think we're very strong on our customer service, even though we're not, I guess, on a day-to-day customer facing. It might be weeks before we engage with clients on a project basis, but we're so hot on customer service. That's one of our big strengths, I think. Going out, chatting to people, and that's what you've got to do. I guess one of the key things that we've done recently in the last sort of 2-3 years is diversify. We're a kind of traditional design agency where we work on people's branding and stationery, brochures, websites. But one of the things we've sort of moved into slightly is the social, digital side of stuff. So a lot of the work we're doing now is very digital based.
And has that been driven by your customers, or have you been leading your customers into it?
No, we just kind of made sure that we were aware of the change. And 3 years ago, people didn't communicate with Twitter and things like that, and now that's a massive form of communication. And we just made sure that we were very knowledgeable from the start. And I joined Twitter, one of the social networks, right from the word go, and we made sure that we were educated not only in that but in LinkedIn and YouTube and all these other things, and we just keep up to date with that kind of knowledge.
Matt, is there a particular form of social media that really works for your business more than others?
People that know me, I'm a massive fan of Twitter, but we just make sure that we're up to date on everything. Whether it's setting up a client's Pinterest account, whether it's advising on the best way to design YouTube channels, and we're always striving to just make sure that we're at the top of our game on that, because I think you have to diversify, you have to try new things, and in this market, if a client doesn't want a certain type of design, they want to go elsewhere, you've got to be able to do everything.
One of the things that clients often ask me is, are you ever likely to get any business from Twitter? Are you ever likely to get any business from Facebook? Now,
the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We've gained a lot of clients through Twitter. We've gained work through Twitter. We've advised people where if we can't offer a service, that via Twitter we've recommended people. I booked, and this is a separate issue, I booked and conducted my last optician's appointment only through someone I met on Twitter.
Really? Wow.
No phone calls, no nothing, and I only met the
opticians out there, you need to get yourselves on Twitter with the help of the Collective Design.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because as a designer yourself, to be, there isn't a huge amount of design involved in a Twitter site, a Twitter page, or
no, not at all.
Facebook, there's maybe a little bit more.
Most of the social networks, it's free. You can, dip your toe in and just see how it works. We advise on tone of voice and consultancy sort of side of stuff, and just how you tweet at the right time, and you go onto Facebook at the right time, and we obviously design a few icons and homepage stuff. And
do you think? I mean, just slightly moving away from the social networking arena, and it's obviously a big buzz at the moment. But do you think there is anything about being in the St Albans area that is determining the nature of the business that you get, and the requirement for being on social networking? You can be anywhere in the world, can't you? So you don't have to be in London any longer or in Manchester. You can literally be in a village somewhere and appear to have a global business.
I think, St Albans has a big digital population. There's a lot of, some of the best mummy bloggers in the UK are in St Albans. We've had a few opportunities in the last decade to take our business into London, and we've seen no reason to do that ever. The transport links are okay, although slightly expensive. But we're quite happy being in St Albans. It's a home, and I have, we can get into London. We have a lot of clients, not just in London, but in the north, and it's just a great location if we want to move around.
And is there any pressure on pricing and things like that at the moment? I mean, all of these social networking things are free. You're advising, and then they're sort of saying, well, it's free, so why are you charging us for some help for this? How do you work that out?
Well, in terms of that, I mean, people, if they want to design their own icons and their own sort of back pages, and they want to set up YouTube channels, then it's free. We can advise that graphical side of it, but mainly it's consultancy. It's as I said, it's tone of voice, and also it's linking sites together, and it's how you place that on your own website. And everyone wants followers, or everyone wants likes, but you don't just put it out there and get those things. You have to communicate in a certain way. And currently, every business card I think we're designing at the moment has your name, your telephone, your email address, your website, and also your social network. It's a massive, it's a form of communication, and I think it's here to stay.
I mean, I think I'd be really interested, Matt, to ask you about what your future plans are, if you like, because I mean, you've got a name, sort of collective design. I mean, collective. I mean, I'm sort of thinking you're some sort of free-form, sort of radical group, always just turn up in jeans and things like that. I mean, but is that the truth of it? Sorry to stereotype, but is that the truth? I mean, do you want your business to be as big as it possibly can? Because a lot of people assume that when people go into business, they just want to be big. But do you want to be big, or do you just want to be profitable? Or what do you want to be?
We do wear jeans, by the way. That's we're designers, so we have to wear jeans, and we have to go snowboarding.
Is that the uniform?
That's the uniform.
Okay, right.
We currently have 5 people in our studio. When I set out a few years back, it was like, how big can we grow this? And probably, I'm going back maybe 6-7 years. We kind of made a conscious decision that we wouldn't make double figures. And that's not an ambitious thing. That is that I am a designer. Although I run a business, I always want to be a designer. I don't want to be a manager of people. And when you get to double figures, when you get to sort of that sort of level, all I would end up doing is managing people and managing people's, structure in the day, and then I would lose what my core skill is I'm a designer. So although some people might look at that and go, well, surely you want to grow. Actually, the people that we have in the studio, it's fun. There's 5 of us at the moment, and I don't want to lose that.
So for somebody that doesn't like managing people and doesn't like doing that because you're just a designer, a little bird tells me that you have something called an afternoon in the pub that you have launched and are delighting publicans all over St Albans with. It sounds like a really interesting initiative that presumably is also helping to drive your business. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the afternoon in the pub has been going about a year now. We run a monthly. I'm not going to say networking. We run a monthly business social in a pub. It's very relaxed. It's very informal. We now have events running in Berkhamsted and Harpenden. So we're kind of growing that. It's not your normal networking. There's nothing against normal networking, by the way. But there's no sales pitches. There's no business cards. There's no name badges. It's for people, I guess, who don't like networking, who want to come along, meet local businesses, chat to local people. There's a kind of sense of community about it. There's a sense of we're all in it together, we're all part of the same city, and we've all got to pull together. And I've probably in the last year met the most amazing people that I would never have met through my business.
Well, if you tell us the next time it's on in the various places, we'll tweet it out, we'll Facebook it out, we'll get it on Radio Verulam's website. So finally, just to wind up on a very high note, if I've got my little magic wand, I've got my pink tutu on, with my jeans underneath it, by the way. If I could grant you a wish for your business today, what would it be?
That's an interesting question. I know we've got to be quick here, but God, a magic wand. I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to run my own business. I think we're doing okay. I'm very happy with the business as it is. But I guess, like anyone, some more clients would be nice.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Matt.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam. We're the voice of the local business community on 92.6 FM and on radioverulam.com.
Radio Verulam Community Partners.
I don't know what I'd do without good neighbours. Many people say that to our volunteers, and they really mean it. St Albans Good Neighbour scheme serves local residents who are elderly, unwell, disabled or facing a crisis and do not have close family or a good neighbour to turn to. We provide transport, help with shopping, practical help in the house or garden and a befriending team available to the housebound or lonely. We urgently need new volunteers to keep the scheme running. Please ring St Albans 830 713 or visit our website sagns.org for more details.
For more on Radio Verulam Community Partners, go to radioverulam.com/community partners.
Hi, I'm Kathy Weston.
And I'm Lydia El Khoury.
Join us every Thursday evening on The Parent Show for expert interviews, local information about caring for children in West Hearts,
and a What's On guide you just can't afford to miss. We're here every Thursday between 8 and 9 p.m. on Radio Verulam 92.6 FM.
Don't forget to tune in!
If you want to get in touch with The Business on Radio Verulam, phone us on 01727 839 926 or email thebusiness@radioverulam.com.
Right, we're back now, as we were talking about a little while ago, we love to get in your sort of little bits of advice and light bulb moments, the best things I did, the worst things I did, and actually we've got one in already in the can. Rachel Bridge is going to be a friend of this show, as you'll find out, because she has written a book that's absolutely perfect for our show, which is called How to Start Up a Business Without Any Money, and that's the book.
That's what we all need.
Absolutely. That's the book I would have liked to have had about 18 months ago when I set up my business. So we're going to hear a little clip. It's just a minute long, and she's going to tell us what her best and her worst decisions were. So here we go.
Bridge, author of How to Start a Business Without Any Money. My best business decision was to start writing books. I've been a journalist for many, many years and written about some wonderful and fascinating entrepreneurs, and the decision to actually bring together all those stories and put them in books was a really good decision, because a book is forever and people can read it again and again and pass it on to other people and really start a conversation about it. My worst decision, and this has been hard because I couldn't actually think of any bad decisions I've made, which sounds incredibly arrogant. Maybe I just turn them around and use them as learning experiences. I think my worst decision was not going to the Edinburgh Festival earlier than I did. I took a one-woman show about entrepreneurs to the Edinburgh Festival in 2010 called How to Make $1 Million Before Lunch, and it was one of the most exciting and wonderful experiences of my whole life. I absolutely loved it. And as soon as I got there and started performing, thought, why didn't I do this years ago?
Thanks, Victoria. My business is the Mortgage Mine Limited. It's a business.
If you enjoy singing and are looking for an uplifting musical experience, the St Albans Choral Society guarantees a friendly welcome to new members. The choir numbers around 80, rehearses on Thursday evenings in central St Albans and performs at various local venues including St Albans Abbey. If you have a reasonable voice and like a musical challenge, go along and join them. For further details, see their website, choralsociety.com, or call the membership secretary on 01727 831 838.
For more on Radio Verulam Community Partners, go to radioverulam.com/community partners.
Radio Verulam Community Partners.
I don't know what I'd do without good neighbours. Many people say that to our volunteers, and they really mean it. St Albans Good Neighbour Scheme serves local residents who are elderly, unwell, disabled or facing a crisis and do not have close family or a good neighbour to turn to. We provide transport, help with shopping, practical help in the house or garden, and a befriending team available to the housebound or lonely. We urgently need new volunteers to keep the scheme running. Please ring St Albans 830 713 or visit our website sagns.org for more details.
For more on Radio Verulam Community Partners, go to radioverulam.com/community partners.
Well, that was an interesting segment, and we'll be getting more of those case studies in on all of our shows, so some very interesting guests to come. And we've got some more interesting guests in the studio. We're at the stage of the show where we're doing a Let's Talk Business segment. And this evening, we're very pleased to welcome Beric Reid, Business and Portfolio Councillor for St Albans and District Council. Beric, welcome.
Thank you.
And Myriad, I've forgotten your surname. How embarrassing, Myriad.
It's Myrion Anderson.
Myrion, sorry.
That's
Anderson,
all right.
You see, honestly. Who is Chairman of Hertfordshire Institute of Directors.
That's correct. Good evening.
Welcome, both of you. Thank you very much for coming in, and I'll just put my teeth back in, shall I? Okay, so a little earlier on, at the top of the hour, we were talking about key items in business news at the moment. And the first item I'd like to discuss with you was the announcement by Vince Cable that he was going to be injecting £1 billion worth of money into business lending and up to £10 billion into small and medium-sized business by setting up a bank, in inverted commas, which we've yet to have information on, and it's allegedly going to help businesses move forward and kickstart the marketplace. So perhaps, Beric, you would like to kick us off. What are your thoughts?
I'm quietly hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any detail on this, but
Okay.
I run a small sort of engineering manufacturing technology company, and I'm on a few business committees in the Eastern region.
Right.
And I was one of the founders of a national group, the SME Innovation Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been campaigning for an industrial bank for a number of years now.
Okay.
And sort of lobbying for it. And
Yeah.
the main reason is, if you export,
Mm-hmm.
the banks view you as high risk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
you're automatically at a disadvantage to get a loan off the banks if you're an
Right.
exporter.
Okay.
And the other problem is, if you're a technology company,
Mm-hmm.
the banks just don't seem to have anybody left in them who actually understand anything about technology.
Right.
So we've had instances where companies we're involved with have been making sort of X such and such a widget at a fairly high fee,
Mm-hmm.
and the banks suddenly turn around and say, "Well, I don't understand, because we can buy this for 20 pence,"
Mhm.
because actually they've had no idea what it is they make, or
Right.
there's a complete disconnect.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be there's not the business managers anymore. And I know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with one of the major banks, and I don't know who to contact anymore.
Right.
At my bank.
So then, in terms of injecting £1 billion into this scheme, is that actually going to help, given the issues that you've identified? You've basically pointed out that we've got a lack of expertise in the banking system. We need people who understand what business is about. You've also interestingly mentioned the issue over export, because in fact, as we know, particularly in the east of England, there's a huge amount of support to encourage businesses to export. So it's a bit worrying to hear that banks are almost proactively. Are you suggesting they're discouraging businesses from exporting by not lending to them?
Well, I mean, yeah, I know. We've had companies we know who, over the last few years, have basically turned down business because they can't get the working capital to actually do the order.
Right.
And usually their view is, if that order had been in the UK, the
Mhm.
banks would have said yes, but because they were exporting, the banks think, well, you might not get paid. It's harder to chase down a debtor, and because the banks are so risk averse, that's the key problem. So you've got the government, any government, I'm not being political, wanting us to export more, but actually the banks were at odds with that, and that's one of the reasons we've been campaigning for for an industrial bank. Germany's got one, seems to work.
Okay.
But the devil's in the detail.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've yet to get the detail. Merriden, what are your thoughts?
I think it's smack on with the fact that we don't know the detail at the moment, and that's got to be a key thing to achieve soon, and hopefully they can start looking at the export market, because that's where we've got to get growth being led from. But the other big concern about it is they're saying at the moment it's going to be 18 months minimum before we get anything coming through on that. And on that basis, we're not helping people now, and that's where we need to get better help. So, great initiative. Hopefully we get it to move quicker, and hopefully we can get it to pick up on the key issues that the businesses need.
Yeah, there's been a suggestion by people that, is this just another government spin? Why announce it at this time when it's going to take 18 months for it to actually come to fruition? Do you get a sense of any of that with any of your members, Merriden?
I think one of the key things that a lot of the members are trying to say at the moment, we need to start talking the market up a bit more. The media is great at putting a downer on absolutely everything, because bad news is great. It sells all the things they can sell.
We like good news.
Well, and actually, to an extent, setting up an industrial bank is good news.
Yes.
So letting that's a bit of good news getting out there, and the earlier we can get out, the better. So the key issue is let's try and shrink that 18 months. But it's a big task. It's not something that can be set up overnight. So it will take time. But so let's announce it as quick as possible. Yeah, so I guess watch this space. And as Beric pointed out, the devil's in the detail. And hopefully we'll get some detail sooner rather than later. But either way, as you both say, it can only be good news if we're going to see some movement to help small business. And on the matter of good news, sorry. Go on, Beric.
I was crossing fingers and touching wood.
Crossing fingers and toes. Well, on the matter of good news, and actually at a very local level, Trevor mentioned earlier in the show that we'd come across a very interesting survey that had been published in the Hearts Mercury that stated that in the east of England, more than 90% of businesses said that they can see, and that's in the retail sector, said that they can see steady company growth in 2013, and 92% are optimistic about or undaunted by Christmas trading. Now, interesting, because in comparison to a similar survey conducted by the British Retail Consortium, businesses across the UK were suggesting that, in fact, issues like the Olympics had had a negative impact on retail spending. So, why is it that potentially there's all this opportunity here in the east of England? Merriden, perhaps you kick us off on this one.
The east of England is an energy house of the UK, so it's going to be picking up a lot quicker. I mean, most businesses, not just in retail that I speak to, they're all performing well at the moment. There's a lot of things going on. There's the issue about funding and getting working capital coming through we've just discussed. But they actually all got a fairly positive outlook, and that's one of the reasons I mentioned trying to, let's get the media to talk it up a bit. So the east of England is the powerhouse. There's a lot going on there, and there's a lot more entrepreneurial and optimistic people here. So that's what we've got the difference. Yeah. Okay, Beric?
I'd echo that. I know when there was the regional development agencies, EDA always had more people applying for things than they had money to deal with, whereas some of the other parts of the UK were the opposite, and actually was struggling to find innovative companies and things to apply for grants. So there's, in many senses, the energy. There's literally the energy of the offshore oil and things like that involved with the Eastern region. There's a lot of engineering. I mean, everybody I know in engineering is flat out. Yeah. They're struggling either to find the cash to do jobs or to find the staff. And people. So that's a situation I know, but that's technical staff they need. And that's a whole other program to talk about that. But I think that's the case. And also, the Eastern region is odd. We have high technology, we have biotech, we have energy, and we also have a lot of farming as well. So it's quite selective in the sorts of industries we have here. But it is, and it's a very odd recession. It's,
extreme.
Unemployment's terrible if you're unemployed, but it's nowhere near it was in previous recessions or anything. So it is. I think that's what's confusing everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, in one sense, we know that things are bad out there. I think in some way or other, we've all been affected at some point by this recession. Having said that, at its simplest level, try and get into a restaurant in St Albans on a Thursday night or a Friday without having booked, and quite often you find it really difficult. Yeah. So people are out there spending. So what do you think that reflects?
I think Malin touched on it earlier in that, I mean, unemployment hasn't gone up massively, so people still have the income, still have to work, but everyone's just slowly paying off their mortgages or cutting down their debts and doing that, and everyone's just a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's affecting the retail side of things, I should imagine, more than anything.
Absolutely. It's confidence level. That's what I talked about, the media trying to pick things back up again. Everybody thinks it's all bad news out there. And the fact that unemployment keeps going down every time the figures are released at the moment is good news. But what we need to do is start encouraging people to create the demand. It's all well and good saying to the business need to produce more. We actually need to get the demand to pull it through. And that's both on domestic demand, but also international demand. We've got the problem with Europe,
right?
And
that all that being one of the biggest export market for the UK.
Yeah.
We've got to look further afield because Europe has got a few years of problems ahead of it. Whether the euro, and that is another topic, whether the euro will survive, whether it's survive in the current form, that's a big debate and that's a big concern. So export into Europe at the moment is a problem. Hence the banks are looking at it as being a risk. But we need to be looking much further afield on that and actually developing on that basis. So whilst we can create this strange situation that we're in this so-called double-dip recession at the moment, technical recession that we're in, but we've also got unemployment dropping down. So how do we come over this? And it's actually, people are paying off a number of things of their own, but we need now to start encouraging people to say, let's go out and let's pull some demand through.
Yeah, it's back to innovative thinking as well, isn't it? Innovation isn't just about innovation in technology or innovation in manufacturing. It's also about, as you say, looking at markets, looking at creating opportunities, looking at where those opportunities might be, and they may be further afield, as you say.
The retail market as well is changing a great deal. If we just talk about the difference between the high street now and the internet, and it's changing a lot there, and a lot of big retailers are struggling to understand what the best way forward is. Is it that they concentrate on going to the internet, or is it that they stay in the brick side of things? And actually, a lot of the ones that have been successful have got a combination there. And it's coming up with the right strategy to go forward on that and actually work, and then investing in it and then pulling the punters in.
Where do you think, on that basis, where do you think the power is in this? Is in West Hertfordshire? Is the power with the small business in retail, or do you think that we're being overpowered by the larger organisations?
It's interesting. I mean, it's a bit split because you've got some very good smaller retail outlets out there, and that's some great one. There's some nice boutique stuff coming through, and that's great. Hertfordshire has got a big retailer, Tesco's based here, so they're very much present in the high street, but even they're changing quite a way that they deliver a number of things, and on that basis, there is change there, but it's a mixture. That there is opportunities there for smaller retailers. It's not an area I particularly like to be in because I think it's a struggling one. But there are great opportunities there, and I think it's a fair balance. Yeah,
and as you say, there are some very successful smaller retailers, and we've got some great examples in West Hertfordshire of small niche retailers that are marketing what they do across the world, not just here in the region, using things like the internet to facilitate that. So some real success stories. Beric, another thing that came out of that survey was the suggestion that, and something like this is going to get thrown at you because you're on St Albans Council.
Here we go.
That they also highlighted that 64% of traders thought that free parking or lower parking charges were the solution to driving shoppers into town, and that councils should be focused on strategy to drive this. So what's your comment on that?
Broadly speaking, I think it's one of the ones. Yes, I don't think it's as simple. It's one of a package of things that you have to look at. Certainly, I'm in charge of parking and transport and things for the district council.
In charge of parking attendance,
and
is that what he actually does on the council? I thought I recognised him.
But we froze parking charges over the last year. We haven't put any up. I've introduced a number of 1 hour free parking spaces around the outskirts of the shopping area in St Albans.
Yeah.
For that exact reason.
Yeah.
To try and do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, we're part of we've got a contract for our parking, and it's tendered out, and we can't just step in and change things.
Yeah.
But all councils are the same. It's a major earner
for
the councils. So if you cut that back, then they're going to have to put up council tax.
Okay.
Or something. So it is a it's a balancing thing, and certainly in St Albans' case, I want to encourage the growth of people coming in on public transport, really, because our city's a medieval plan. I don't want everybody coming in by car. So it's a balancing act on those sorts of things, certainly.
Okay. I've noticed that the Malting shopping centre is now open till midnight since the 1st of October. From my perspective, I think that's a good thing. I mean, interestingly, I think the Maltings has suffered quite a bit because the car park closes so early. So I don't know, what's your opinion of car park charges being pushed down? Beric? Merriden.
One of the problems,
Beric and Merriden.
You did pick
honestly.
the two weirdest names you could to come in today.
It's the tongue twister business review.
It is the tongue twister.
No, I think as a civil engineer, although my training and profession is, I get frustrated about the transport systems around St Albans, especially that the traffic lights are set up so that they don't allow throughput of the traffic, but also the possibility of not using some of the resources. Public transport would be great to improve it so it's easy to drop in and drop out. On the weekends, do we use the multi-storey car park at the railway station that actually be brought in, and we could actually get a shuttle bus back and forth into town?
Right.
But also there's a view that if you are lowering the car park area, providing free parking, then actually you're not going to get people coming in for the big spend. You're going to get people coming in for lower spend.
Yeah.
Argument which go one with the other.
Yeah.
But we do need to improve some form of physically accessing the centre of St Albans.
Yes. So, lots to debate. I think we could probably go on and on, couldn't we? But what we'd be really interested in is finding out what you, our listeners, think as business owners, or just generally as people listening in who are interested in the business and community in West Hertfordshire. You might have an opinion. So why don't you tweet us? We're at RV The Business, or you can call us on 01727 839 926. That's 01727 839 926. You can go to our Facebook page, or you can email us, and our email address is thebusiness@radioverulam.com. Nearly gave the wrong email address out.
Radio Verulam Community Partners.
St Albans District Neighbourhood Watch is an organisation run by the community in the interests of reducing crime and hooliganism throughout the district. It works in close partnership with the local police and members of the council. It has been shown that crime is greatly reduced in recognised Neighbourhood Watch areas. If you wish to become a member, which costs you nothing, ring the Watch Liaison Officer on 01727 796 087.
For more on Radio Verulam Community Partners, go to radioverulam.com/community partners.
The Solid Gold Music Show on Radio Verulam is with you on Saturday mornings between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Join Derek Staines and Stephen Hall as they flash you back, value discs, have a brief biog and interview the stars. We also allow SJH to ramble down nostalgia lane. It's all on the premier oldies show here on 92.6 FM. The Solid Gold Music Show, sponsored by Dock Guard of Luton.
Have a late date on Saturdays with Derek Staines on Radio Verulam between 10 p.m. and midnight. In the first hour, you get many ideas of where to go and what to do, including news of your favourite artists and where and when to see them within easy reach of St Albans. We also visit the Health Zone, where you get updates and the latest news from the medical world. Why not relive the radio programmes of yesteryear? Listen to recordings going back as far as the early 60s through to the 80s every other week in our radio times. In the second hour, we have some bizarre and amusing news stories from around the globe. Take a look at programs on Radio Verulam for the coming week and relax with our favourite love songs. All of this mixed up with music to put you in that perfect Saturday state of mind. So that's it. Just you and Derek Staines on our Saturday late date at 10 p.m. here on 92.6 FM, Radio Verulam.
If you want to get in touch with the business on Radio Verulam, phone us on 01727 839 926 or email thebusiness@radioverulam.com.
Oh, I do like that jingle. She's got lovely. I think her name's Lucy, and I like Lucy.
The lovely Lucy.
We're going to have to get ourselves a man to do a voiceover as well.
Yes, do manly jingles. Yes. Yeah. I'm not so sure about that, but we shall see. Now, this is the bit of the show where we just talk a little bit about things that are coming up. Mm-hmm. Then, if we've got a few minutes spare, we'll have a little natter about what we've learned on the show. We'll see how we go. But I think we're all right. We're in pretty good shape. 8:55. The IOD from Hertfordshire, very, very helpful and cooperative, as have the Chamber of Commerce been in recent weeks in helping us get this show off the ground, and lots of interest from you guys out there. We've also already got a few clips in of people who are talking about best decisions, worst decisions, and so on and so forth. We'll be looking for lots more of those in the future. But in terms of events that are coming up, I know the IOD have lots of what they call Heart Talk breakfasts coming up. So there's, for example, there's how to get the most out of your IT investments on the 19th of October in St Albans Road at Ramada Hatfield. How do you get the best from your marketing budget in difficult economic times? Sabra Swinton. Oh, I know Sabra, actually. She's in contact quite a lot. I think we all know Sabra.
We do.
5 legal areas to look out for in the coming year. From Mark Palopida from Mashin Solicitors. I do hope I said your name right there, Mark. Apologies if not. Just as an aside, we reference if you're moving between this and the Ryder Cup, it is actually 10-7 at the moment.
Not that you've been watching it.
Well, I know it's the first show, but it's building up to quite an exciting climax. But there's lots of things going on. And I think what we're trying to get across to you here is that if you're in a business and maybe you're struggling or you need help or you want to move up to the next stage of that business, there is no shortage of advice, good people sharing knowledge, and there's never been a better time to share knowledge. I don't know what you think, Vicky. We kind of picked that up a bit, I think, from Matt when he was talking about the way he structures and organises his business.
Definitely. I think that with all the information that's available on the internet is one thing, but there are a whole heap of people out there that have got specialist knowledge and are prepared to share it for no money at all, because there's every chance that you've got some specialist knowledge that you can impart that will help them. So what we really want is for you to, if you've got any knowledge, if you've got a problem, if you've got an event, if you've got anything that's going on that's to do with business in and around the Hertfordshire area, St Albans, Harpenden, etc., please get in touch. Tell us all about it. We'd love to hear from you, because what we want to do is we all want to help each other get better at business, make more money for everybody, and as we said at the beginning of the show, make sure that St Albans and the St Albans area is leading the way out of this recession.
Yes, so we want to help us single-handedly drag this area out of recession if we are in a recession. And by the way, an example of the power of social media, I've just had 2 tweets from Matt Bigg. One saying a massive thanks to the business for letting me on their business show. Great fun. Now for the pub, he says in his second tweet. Thank you very much, Matt, for coming on our show, being our inaugural guest on that. Now, there's plenty of other things happening, though. There's the Food and Drink Festival Awards. Now, it's not just that we're all interested in food and drink for obvious reasons, but of course our very own Roma has a starring role in the production of the awards that is to happen next Thursday night, is it?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the F&D?
Thursday, the 4th of October, we have the St Albans Food and Drink Festival Awards. For the businesses who have been nominated, they will find out who has won each of the very prestigious awards. And so I'm going to be co-presenting those awards with our own Johnny Seabrook. which
Will
is very
you be
exciting.
sampling the goodies as well, Roma?
Oh, no, sadly not. Although, apparently, there's a very nice dinner. It's at St Michael's Manor, so very privileged.
Nice.
Our own little version of the Oscars. And the business show is very privileged to have one of its presenters on. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. And I have to say, I think, again, it represents so much about what's good about the West Hertfordshire region and what's going on with businesses in the food and drink arena. And in fact, just before I came out tonight, I noticed on Twitter the Pudding Stop, who I think are one of the nominated businesses in the St Albans Food and Drink Awards, have been announced as one of the final 3 for the Best Street Food category on BBC Radio 4 Food and Farming Awards.
Oh, right.
To be announced in November. Not bad, eh?
That's absolutely not bad. I mean, we're running out of time now, just coming up to the top of the hour. But I think we've had an enjoyable first show. Do you think?
I think so.
Very good. It's gone very quickly.
I apologise to Marion for mispronouncing his name.
Right, and I think there's all that to be said is we're going to leave you with the lovely voiced lady who's going to tell you all about how to get in touch with us again.
You've been listening to The Business on Radio Verulam. If there's anything in the show you want to talk to us about, phone us on 01727 839 926.